Hanako-san is a young girl who dies tragically in a toilet stall of her school. Under mysterious circumstances, a rumor spreads that Hanako haunts the school and torments the students, especially being most commonly observed in the girls' bathroom. Three girls, desperate to get rid of a bully of theirs, use their last resort to summon Hanako and curse this bully so their problem gets resolved. Little would they know is that the curse would blow back and target them instead of the bully. Hi folks, I'm R, your narrator, and welcome to Hanako. If you have any video or game suggestions, make sure to send them to me on my Twitter or subreddit. Keep in mind that this video will have spoilers, and with that in mind, let's begin. Three 5th grade students leave past their curfew for an evil plan that they have in mind. They want to curse a fellow classmate whom they don't seem to get along with, for which they want to use a curse known as Hanako. The rumor has it that years ago, a girl lost her life in a girl's bathroom in the same school, having a signature look of a red skirt standing out. The catch is, she actually had the same uniform as any other girl in the school, but due to severe blood loss, her blood painted her clothes red, giving the look of having a red uniform. The three determined girls lie to their parents of what they're intending to do, saying that they're sleeping over a friend's house, while in fact they are committing an evil act to call upon Hanako to curse the girl that they call their bully. Yume and Eri, alongside the protagonist, break into their school at night, taking a flashlight with them to investigate and perform the ritual. Going to the place the incident is rumored to have taken place in, the girl's bathroom, in front of the 3rd stall, the protagonist spends 3 times when she gets a glimpse of a dark figure resembling a girl in between her friends, which quickly disappears. Horrified to what she just witnessed, she starts getting second thoughts of whether she would continue or not. Still determined and vindictive to put an end to the girl she hates, she continues with the ritual, calling upon Hanako to summon her so she could use her legendary large kitchen knife to complete the deed. All the girls starting to get a bad feeling, beg the vindictive protagonist to already finish the ritual and leave, when all of a sudden the bathroom stall starts creaking open on its own, with the mythical Hanako coming out of the toilet, having her distinctive red skirt. That's when in fear, the protagonist blanks out for what feels a split second, opening her eyes after a blink of an eye to see both her friends completely gone, with no sign of Hanako anywhere. Confused to what just happened, the young and stupid protagonist fully understands that she is probably the one cursed by Hanako now, not the girl that she wanted to curse. Leaving the bathroom to look for Yume and Eri, she hears the screams of one of her friends, which makes her panic in fear and run erratically to the source of the sound to figure out what just happened. On her way, she finds Yume intact behind closed shutters, who tells her that she woke up on the 2nd floor not knowing what happened, and just like the protagonist, hearing the scream, assuming that it came from the pool. The protagonist decides to visit the pool as it seems their friend Eri is in trouble, quite likely with the recently summoned Hanako due to a ritual going wrong and backfiring. Reaching the pool room, the protagonist comes across a shadow female entity who refers to the protagonist as a wanderer, someone who has experimented with a ritual to summon Hanako. She guides the protagonist to concentrate her flashlight to defend herself against Hanako's minions, who will attack anyone at sight. Coming across one of these hostile entities covered in eyes, a horrible part of Hanako's past is revealed to how this entity is created from Hanako's deepest parts of psyche. It has been created by her insecurity, fear, and loneliness. Hanako never was a popular girl at school and struggled to make friends, with almost everyone avoiding her, judging her, and making fun of her. That's why the monstrous entity which acts as Hanako's guardian is in the shape of all of her insecurities and fears. In theory, it's the embodiment of all the hurtful things she heard, possibly the gooey body holding the eyes being all the horrible things the girls called Hanako in regards to her figure, the eyes representing the ever-having eyes of the classmates who watched Hanako and passed judgment, with Hanako feeling like she's always being watched, never feeling comfortable with herself. Therefore, all the hurtful words and bullying Hanako received formed into a monster, acting as a guardian, protecting her from ever getting hurt again. This also provides some hints to the backstory of Hanako on how she lost her life, as she felt like an outcast, being bullied and having no friends to support her emotionally. Keep in mind that this demonic entity or yokai is actually called a dodomeki, which I will explain in depth canonically at the very end, but for the purposes of the story and fitting into the story of Hanako, I have theorized it to be related to Hanako. After the protagonist manages to bypass this monstrous embodiment of Hanako's fears, she continues on her search for Eri. Soon enough, the protagonist comes across another monstrous being with the head of a woman carried on a large spider, as of being the embodiment of hurtful teachers who embarrassed Hanako, always giving her nasty comments as if they felt like spider bites. This entity in fact is called the Jaragomo, which I will also explain in depth towards the end of the video. After managing to defeat the spider-like yokai in the gym and freeing some praise, the protagonist finds Yume, who confesses to her that she has always been jealous of Eri, as she always got the attention and was the more popular girl. During the ritual, the girls were supposed to picture and think of the person they want to curse, which Yume couldn't help but imagine and visualize Eri. She explains how she feels guilty and why Eri was targeted by Hanako, further revealing how stupid these girls are, going so far as cursing someone to die, even not being true friends to each other and being jealous of each other, which is a very bad characteristic to have. Yume being on the floor crying, feeling guilty for her actions. The protagonist continues on her search for Eri when she comes across the shadow figure once more, who explains defeating the spider was just the beginning, as there is a much more sinister entity awaiting her. This entity is said to be only dangerous when seen or given attention to, as dismissing it would make it not exist. Coming across this faceless presence, having a tall female figure, it's possible it's the representation of popular girls who bullied Hanako. This yokai only can be dangerous and deliver damage when seen, which can be true for how bullies can be at times. The uptight, mean girls are only powerful as long as given attention and having the presence of friends around them with a lot of validation. When the validation and the spotlight is taken away from them, majority of times they prove to be the most insecure people with deep issues who tend to project it in a hostile manner. This yokai in fact is called a Kobinashi, which has a different backstory, and also in the game it's depicted a little bit differently. But for the purposes of the story affiliating it to Hanako, I have made this theory. However, I will still explain it towards the end with what the backstory truly is. After a long battle fighting off this entity, the protagonist meets up with Yumi, both ready to find Eri and put an end to this horrible night. Following a trace of blood, the protagonist finds a mysterious girl badly injured, lying on the ground. After tending to her wounds, she finds a protection charm from her, which she takes in order to protect herself against the demonic beings. After some time, the protagonist manages to find Eri, who is standing in front of a portal, who says that Hanako just wanted to end it all, but they made it complicated for her. That's when she said that she has no choice to go when she disappears in the portal, with Hanako coming out instead. It seems as if Hanako needed a sacrifice or replacement in order to come to this realm. After using a high-powered light, a talisman, the protagonist defeats Hanako, which leaves a black portal behind. The protagonist, not willing to give up on her friend, uses the protection charm that she acquired earlier, courageously stepping in order to save her friend, Eri. Entering a twisted and horrifying version of the world filled with overshadowing trees and darkness, the protagonist arrives at a place decorated with blood. In there, she finds Eri standing in front of the well filled with blood, presumably the blood of Hanako's victims whom she killed in revenge. The protagonist urges Eri to come back to the real world with them. When they manage to do just that, with all of them trembling in fear of what they just went through. The protagonist alongside her friends leave the school with Eri seemingly having forgotten everything, with the protagonist thinking the person she took back from the alternate dimension in the portal might not even be her. The girl that they intended to curse turns out to have been a bully of theirs whom they wanted to get rid of using the Hanako curse, but it seems nothing happened to her. For some reason, however, it seems the bully stops bullying them, as if getting fed up and moving on with her life. The protagonist also realizes cursing someone was not the right thing to do, as it blew back on them severely. As they say, what goes around comes back around. The rumors of Hanako also start subsiding to being completely forgotten, with the girls deciding to never bring up the traumatizing events that they experienced, trying to forget about it to the point as if it was nothing but just a dream. After some time, the protagonist, thinking that she had moved on from the past, finally decides to go to school. That's when the teacher comes to the class with a new student whom he refers to as Hanako Mitarai, with Mitarai looking at the protagonist, whispering the words, there is no escape, which suggests that, in fact, what goes around comes back around, with the three girls who wanted to curse someone being the subject of the curse themselves forever. In another ending, after finding Eri, she mentions how she understands Hanako now and that she must go when she disappears into the portal, with Hanako appearing instead and chasing after the protagonist, intending to kill her. Using the talisman again, she manages to defeat Hanako when, instead, she passes out this time. As she opens her eyes, which feels like a few seconds to her, she finds herself in a hospital surrounded by her parents and Yumi on the bed next to her. Yumi seems to have forgotten everything, with everyone disbelieving anything the protagonist says, saying she was dreaming it and had lost the plot. Unfortunately, Eri is nowhere to be found, as if she was transferred to a different realm. That's when the protagonist explains the girl they wanted to curse all along was a bully who made their lives miserable, and they were in fact the victims here at the receiving end. Despite the curse, nothing happened to the bully, making the protagonist think it might be because she destroyed Hanako, and all of it being in vain. Despite not forgiving the bully, the protagonist decides to never use the curse again after experiencing how horrible it truly was. After a month of relentless search for Eri, they fail to find her, with her parents visibly becoming desperate and lost. This only proves to have been a bad idea, as not only did they not get rid of the bully, but they lost a dear friend and accordingly destroyed the lives of her parents, who would never move on from the loss of their daughter. And I believe payback or justified punishment should be to the same level accordingly, not to the point of asking a yokai or a demonic being to be summoned to kill someone that just bullies them. That's a little bit too far-fetched in my opinion. In the final ending, when the protagonist finds the abnormally emotionless Eri in the alternate reality, she looks at the well, being gravitated towards it, drinking from it. Not being able to help herself, she takes a sip, followed by another and another. She starts feeling a strange dark power seeping through her veins, giving her unfathomable abilities, making her the new Hanako, the entity of the curse who can be summoned. The rumor spreads after her disappearance, with curious students calling upon her. As she appears, the doubtful students stare at her in disbelief and terror, which the protagonist enjoys, taking the new role of the curse with pleasure. She starts to slowly lose her memories and the sense of herself, with the only thing she desires to drink more and kill whoever visits her still, becoming a bloodthirsty dark entity filled with rage and the sinister and evil blood in the well. This explains the original Hanako was not inherently evil, but due to drinking from the irresistible well, she lost her mind and became a demonic entity who hunts and kills the students in the school. During the game, a few different letters can also be found by different authors who complain about different things and seemingly summon Hanako. One being greedy and wanting money, one having been heartbroken and left by her partner for another woman, and one feeling that she is ugly. Throughout the game, there is a shadow girl that guides the protagonist, calling her Wanderer, like many others. It seems that this shadow figure used to be a real girl who performed a ritual but ultimately cursed herself. This is also true with the authors of the letters. As it is later revealed, whoever calls upon Hanako and visits her still is the subject of the curse, not the ones that they want to curse. Taking a more thorough look at the yokais, having the canon explanation of what they are rather than the theories relating them to Hanako, the first creature is called a dodomeki, a Japanese yokai who was initially a human woman who becomes cursed to look as such. A demonic being with long arms covered in bird eyes for her habit of stealing money. One of the authors of the notes mentions how she was obsessed with money and justified and rationalized stealing from the wealthy as if she deserves it. Therefore, she could have been teleported to the alternate dimension next to the blood well, where she drank from it and transformed into this grotesque being. Next yokai is a jorogomo, a spider-looking entity which can shapeshift into a spider to lure men and consume them. As we learn in the notes, the author wanted to look more beautiful despite being very beautiful to begin with. Later in life, she finds the man of her dreams just to be dumped before the day of their marriage. That's when her broken heart, alongside hatred hatred, anger, and a sense of entitlement gets the better of her, summoning Hanako to seek vengeance. This constant need of attention and desire to be more wanted transformed her into a horrendous being who drank from the well of blood to achieve her dream of being the most gravitating and beautiful, being cursed to become a spider being. The final yokai is a Kobinashi, a headless ghost which originally relates to a motorcycle accident. However, in the game, this yokai seems to have a face that she was not too fond of, which led to her to wish that she didn't have a face to be judged based on. That's how her wish came true, becoming a headless ghost. Hanako in general is an urban legend which has various accounts on how Hanako passed away. Some relating to war while she was hide and seeking, another account saying that she was murdered by a parent, and another being more faithful to the game's accounts. Either way, Hanako is said to haunt the school that she lost her life in and tends to kill the ones that visit her stall or call upon her. And that's about it for this video, folks. What are your thoughts and opinions about Hanako and the actual urban legend? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, you can stay tuned for more by hitting on the subscribe button and the notification bell. It's been your host Star as always. Thanks for being here, and I will catch you on the next video. Have a fantastic day.